my prior life, we did develop a workaround for that because when you're working so many old ARs, it's hard to keep track with everything and make sure your data is accurate. So we actually used a platform called Dashboard MD that was a data repository that had amazing reporting analytics. So we basically put feeds in every single platform that we had and we were working, and it consolidated everything for us into this other platform. So instead of us actually going into the platform to run reports and all that stuff, we just went into Dashboard MD and pulled reports out of there for our financials.
So it was like a layer that's sat on top.
It's very similar to like an HIE for multiple EHRs, except it's on the revenue cycle side. But if you're not going to consolidate platforms, then you absolutely have to use a data repository. But there's so much more benefit to consolidating to one, even from a continuity of care perspective, from tracking and analytics, anything like that. So I think if you're looking to be a platform to grow and, take over the world, ultimately your goal should be on one platform.
Yeah. And how long would it typically take to transfer someone over that you acquire?
I don't think it has to be very quick. We've done very quick integration. So a lot of it you start prior to go live. You can do the training prior to go live. You can do data migration prior to go live. You can do, you can do the medical records input or import. You can do the same with demographics. You can do all kinds of crosswalks. So if you're willing to put the money up front to do, the data exchanges, it's very seamless. If you're going to use Manpower, then I would suggest adding staff to do some of the manual uploading of information and the transition of the documents. But ultimately, the day that you sign, the next day you should be able to go live with your new platform. So I'm not a huge fan of doing side-by-side models unless, there's no unless. There has been some activity in acquisition space where people do side-by-side models so you can continue to bill and collect under the old tax ID while you start up the new ones. But ultimately, best practice would be to time your acquisition appropriately and do all of the work the right way so you're billing under the correct tax ID and the correct credentialing stuff. And then day one, you have a whole new book of business and everything under that new platform, under the new group from the date of acquisition.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so you've been in prior dermatology practices before, and it sounds like cardio as well. Based on specialty, is there really any vendor that stands out within the different specialties, or is your view that they should all kind of be able to do them all or have strength in them all?
Well, so there are EHRs that are, I'll start with NextGen. So NextGen was originally developed by a very established cardiology group. So the cardiology templates that were NextGen were dynamite. I mean, they weren't built for the younger demographic, the new cardiologists that were really speed driven, but they at least had the robustness that you would expect from a cardiology template. After that launch, several years, they started developing focus groups, which was the focus group I was on for dermatology, building and designing the new templates for the different specialties to make them more efficient. So at this particular point, I would expect that the majority of EHRs do have templates that cater towards specialty. And if not, they have preference settings that you can do within the system that would cater the templates to make them more appropriate by specialty. With that being said, ModMed is specifically geared towards dermatology from a documentation perspective. So if you were looking at best practice, that was designed by dermatologists, it was facilitated by dermatologists, and really from an EHR side, modernizing medicine is really stellar from a clinical perspective. But the caveat to that is you're going to have to find a really awesome, PM platform that partners with it, because I would not recommend the front office of ModMed for a big platform.
Yeah. And so for EHR, it sounds like it does make a big difference kind of based on the workflow and the different procedures, et cetera, that those different specialties are doing. But from an RCM perspective, is it really that different, between specialties?
No, from the revenue side, it's